Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to you what looks better in person. You can barely see it in the camera. Hold on a second. You guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. We have been changing things up around here. As you've probably noticed, it's winter out here. Although warm for winter, it's still winter. And with that said, you can't drive just any vehicle in the winter. You have to drive a specific type of vehicle in the winter. It's not nice. It's not nice out here. I think it's minus 26 Celsius right now before the wind chill. And that said, we're gonna do something different today. So I wanted to change things up. The way we've been doing things, lately I've been building a lot of composite things or carbon fiber things for those new. And it's a change for me. I wanted to change things because in the winter, generally, you know, I was driving a C8 Corvette or Lamborghini. I've done different activities and things throughout the winter. But this time, this is my personal vehicle. Now, although the D series in this car is blowing because the turbo was running a little too much boost, the wastegate stuck and it hit 26 PSI and that was the end of that. That's what it's been doing this whole time. That's its life right there. However, I thought what would be more cool than having a transparent hood, half carbon fiber, half transparent. Now, with that said, my friend Kevin tells me you have to be able to sport something. You have to have something to show off in order to have a transparent hood. Well, this baby has a turbo on the D series. That's right, a turbo on the D series making a whopping probably 50 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque, but it's something. So we're gonna take the hood off there, we're gonna get it into the shop, and I'm gonna start going through what we're gonna do with this thing. So let's get her done. All right guys, this is it. This is the plan. So rough game plan. Now I know you're probably wondering who would use a carbon fiber hood to make a carbon fiber hood. And the answer to that is this guy. Okay, we got the hole drilled. Next weapon of choice is the jigsaw. So we're gonna use a jigsaw, we're gonna cut this out and see what kind of hole we're left with. As bad as that sounds. Nailed it. All right, check it out, we got our hole cut. Next step is we're just gonna make sure it's squared and centered, obviously. We've gotta go around that and check. And then from there, I think we're gonna knock down some of these high spots. So it's one even surface. Okay, so next step is I'm gonna sand this whole hood just to kind of give it a smoother finish, I think. And then we're gonna start the mold process. I'm gonna start putting the signboard all the way around the perimeter of it. And I'll end up plugging these holes. I might just put some resin tape over top of them, and then I'll fix the mold afterward. I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna do there. But for the time being, probably gonna finish this like at 800 or something like that, just so it's smoother than what it is. Let's go. So we have it relatively flat. It's not super smooth. I only took it down to a 600, which doesn't matter because we're gonna have to polish the mold anyways. You can see on that mold over there, you can see like I've been working away at cleaning it up. We're gonna have to do that regardless. So this is where we're at. I'm gonna put some tape over top of these holes, which we'll end up preparing in the mold afterward. You'll see that after. I'll end up plugging the sprayer washer nozzle holes and we'll go from there. And then at that point, I'm gonna build a little lip under here so that when we lay the carbon fiber, it has somewhere to transition to for the glass to lay on top of. Essentially what we have here is we have the carbon hood that I cut the hole in the middle, and then I built a flange all the way around it, about a 1-inch flange all the way around. And then I put this piece in the middle because obviously if we're gonna vacuum bag this after, it has to be sealed. So I have that in the middle. We'll just lay a couple layers of fiberglass over that. That's not too structural there. Although that's not smooth and you guys are probably like, oh, it'll end up even. We can fix that in the mold. It'll take 2 seconds. Easier to do it in the mold than try and do it now. Next step is I'm gonna hit this with some PVA, and then we're gonna start the tooling gel coat process. So once I spray the PVA on here, which is like another mold release agent, it's designed to fail, essentially just lets everything release easier. I'm gonna spray that on here. We'll let it cure. Then the gel coat, the tooling gel coat goes on. So we'll brush that on here and we'll let it sit for 24 hours. Now it's an unwaxed gel coat. So what the unwaxed means is it doesn't cure with a film on it. So we can come back in a month and put the fiberglass on here, it'll be fine. I'm gonna wait 24 hours, let it gas off, and then we'll put the fiberglass on top of it. We'll start with a light, probably like 2-gram fiberglass cloth, and then we'll work our way into a matte afterward. That all said, let's get cooking here. You know, we're probably, I don't even know how many hours in this thing, probably like 4 days, so like 40 hours into it right now. Okay guys, check it out. I let it sit overnight, nice and dry, cured. Next up, we're gonna do some 1.5 ounce fiberglass cloth. What that's gonna do is allow it to get into these tight corners. Guys, check it out. Finally got the top done. It kind of cured overnight. Got a little pool in here, so it's not 100%, but it's pretty close. Don't mind my mountain of garbage over here. It's been minus 50 Celsius for over a week now, and it is accumulating in a hurry. However, my garage door is frozen closed, so there's that. Anyway, next step to this transparent EG Civic carbon fiber hood I'm making is we're going to flip it over and do everything on the reverse side that we just did on this side. We're getting close here. After a couple hours of scraping, I managed to get off the majority of the glue. You know, traditionally I would use a masking tape along here and then I'd put the glue on there. However, the masking tape becomes the weak point, and I've had a lot of experiences with the board pulling apart, so I'd rather do it this way. Next up is we're gonna go around and we're gonna start filling all these holes. Over here where the hood pin mechanism was that they had, we're gonna have to build something. Now, I do wanna go back to a hood pin, just a much cleaner style. I think I'll do a button style. We'll end up filling in this hole here, as we'll no longer need this mechanism. Let's get cruising. We're going to start with filling all the holes with wax and dealing with the hood pin location. Then we'll put some mold release agent on here, and we'll get cruising. Okay guys, as I was going there, I kind of hit a dilemma. So underneath this is the center of the hood essentially that we're not going to be using for carbon fiber, but we are for the Lexan. Over here is the flange for the Lexan, right? So I was going to box this off, and then I was going to have the carbon fiber on the backside go across there to add rigidity. But then I thought the problem you run into is you have a gap there now because this 1/8 inch sheet here. So we're gonna have to pull this out, and then we'll have to build this flange down and across, and then that'll give us extra strength where the Lexan will go. Okay guys, we got it out, a little bit of a battle, but not too bad. So the plan is now I'm going to box this all off. After what feels like a week of applying this, it's 8 layers of this we've put on. And next we're gonna spray the PVA. I went around and filled a bunch of these low spots. I kind of sanded some out. I touched up a little bit with some gel coat where the hinges were. I did sand some of these lower spots here, filled in some more over here. And then what I've got going over here is, I wasn't super pumped about how the perimeter came out, or the flange that's gonna support the Lexan glass. So I built this temporary barrier. I re-gel coated the top of it. We're gonna let this cure overnight. We'll come back tomorrow. Something happened in this area, temperature related. This all looks good. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. This is just PVA wrinkling, that's normal. This isn't a big deal. We're gonna end up cutting that out anyways after it's made. I'll probably make it a little bit smoother because, you know, I'll end up having leftover gel coat from here anyway that we could put over there. So now that we're getting onto the time lapse, what we're gonna do, what you're gonna see, I'm gonna clean all this wax off. I'm gonna start washing all this PVA away. I'm gonna hit this with something really heavy, probably a 40 grit, maybe an 80 grit, and start knocking down things like this, everything, right? This flange needs to be fairly smooth. You don't see it, but it does need to bond to the other half. And all of these lines around here, again, as always, we do need to get rid of these lines. So we're gonna start hammering that out. Again, some more tape lines over here. So overall, we need this to look like that. Actually, that would be acceptable on the bottom because you don't see it. A lot of it's epoxy to the bottom side anyways. So let's get moving. Okay guys, it was a long day. We sanded the whole thing. I used an 80 grit over the whole thing. And then I came back and I hit it with 2 coats of tooling gel coat. We'll let this tooling gel coat set up overnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning we'll knock it down, probably with 120 grit or something like that. Just going up in grits and work our way up to about 1,000, where we'll end up polishing this. And then we finally lay some carbon on it. It's been a long haul. It's finally to a point where I'm kind of happy with it. I'm not super thrilled, but it'll work. It's like your stepsister. Like, it's ugly, but gets the job done. That's kind of how this mold is. I'm gonna call it the stepsister mold. Next steps you guys are gonna see, you're gonna see me put down some 2x2 twill. And then I'm gonna put down some lentil Soric because it's gonna give it a little bit of extra rigidity and strength. And then you're gonna see me go around all the edges, and I'm gonna actually put some carbon tape in there. And that's to fill the gap between the lentil Soric and the actual the lentil Soric and the edge. Because if I run the white Soric all the way up to the edge and I go trim this edge, we're gonna have a white edge, and we don't want that. So we're gonna run the lentil Soric, you know, about an inch or 2 away, and then we'll fill it with some carbon tape. And then on top of that, we're gonna put another layer of carbon. But we're gonna use plain weave carbon on the inside because it's not as critical. You know, we're not looking for appearance, and it does save quite a bit of money. And then from there, you're gonna see me, I'm gonna run some acetone all the way around the edge here. A shout out to my boy, AJ Hartman, for the tip. We're gonna run some acetone all the way around the edge and clean it up, make sure it's good. Then we're gonna run a gum tape line with probably quite a few pleats, definitely a couple here. I wanna make sure we have a lot of bag up here, put a couple pleats back there yet too. I'm not gonna put anything in here. I may put a little release fabric in there, just prevent the bag from actually sticking, but there's nothing in here. The carbon's probably gonna run an inch or 2 from here. Let's have a good productive day. Let's get cruising. I'm pumped for this. It's been about 2 weeks of messing around with this project, and I'd like to get it finished. Let's go. All right guys, so we've got just about 30 inches of vacuum. It's like noon by now, I think, or something like that. We're running a little bit behind here. We're gonna be using today 3 system. It's called Clear Coat. It's a beautiful, beautiful product. It's very nice to work with. It infuses beautifully. I'm gonna end up mixing it 43 to 100, probably like 400 to 86, I think, something like that's what it'll end up being. But I'm gonna go eat. We'll come back, make sure this is good after I turn the vacuum pump off. You will see I'm gonna end up standing this up horizontally just because it helps push all the air out as the resin's going through it. Okay guys, things are looking good here. So I think we're gonna need to probably double this, but I'm just gonna start it with this and see where we're at. There's a calculator, but it takes away the fun. It's gonna take a couple hours. We'll go to time lapse and then we'll see how things look. So guys, it's been about 40 minutes. Things are going pretty good. It's nice to see that there's no air down here. That means it's sealed. Air is slowly working its way up. And it's moving a little faster on that side, but I did put a resin break on both sides, so that's good. We'll see what happens. It's probably gonna take the better part of, I'm guessing, 3 hours or so. after 90 minutes, we are finally there. We did have a bit of a last second crisis. The cup tipped over on me there, but we had enough resin to get through. So I'm gonna let it run for probably, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. We're gonna let this thing cure for the next close to 24 hours and pop it out. All right, guys, it's the next morning. We're gonna get these consumables off here and see what we are left with. I just want to say shout out to everybody who doesn't use plastic straws anymore, so I can continue to use plastic bagging material. Something I'm going to point out, guys. So I'm first putting down a 200 gram carbon, and that's because it's going to get into all the contours really good and all the low spots with no problems. But then I'm going to hammer on a 600 gram, actually 650 gram, because it's cheaper and more efficient than laying multiple layers of 200 gram. I kind of regret not making this mold smaller now. I made yet because I could save so much vacuum bag. Okay guys, vacuum bag is on. We're just gonna let this sit for probably 2-3 hours, and we're gonna let it do its thing. I'll come along, I'll clamp the suction line off, and then we're just gonna let this sit here for the night. So it does have its flaws for sure. I did this because I wasn't sure how I was gonna get all the carbon in there, and then once I got about halfway done, I was like, man, I could have probably definitely done an infusion on this. But now I know for next time. It's a new shape. I've never done this shape before. So now we know. Good morning, you guys. Welcome back. So we finished yesterday's strong. We got the structure piece out. I'm going to show you in a minute. It's okay, like I said. Doing vacuum like that is not, or wet layup is not the best way, and you're going to get air in the system. Maybe you won't get air in the system, but I always get air in the system. I did get the hood polished. I'll show you guys that in a second. So next up, we need to get the hood hinges, the bolts for them secured in there. We need to find a way to secure this hood. Now keep in mind, we shaved off the hood prop, thank God, and the hood latch. And it did have the hood pins that we got rid of. I do have a button style hood pin we could go to, we'll see. Yeah, there's no latch, so we need to figure out hood pins because the latch. We need to get the Lexan cut out, we'll talk about that after. We need to get the main structure epoxied on there. And what we're gonna do over here for the hood latch is, I've got some of these. So essentially, this is gonna get drilled in from the backside and epoxied down, and that's gonna keep it in place. Well, I know guys, sometimes things just don't go as planned. I had this wonderful idea of taking this car out and showing you guys at nighttime what it looks like with the light. And my fuel pressure regulator went. The engine knocks hard, but whatever, I was gonna drive it anyway. Fuel pressure light regulator went out to salvage, got a new one for you guys. Came back, went to put it together, and then I noticed something. I'm missing part of my hood pin. Now, I got these hood pins on eBay, so they're not close. But I'm gonna show you guys what we built. I say we because we did it all together. So this is it. This is what we put together. Looks cool. It's super dirty right now. I'm kind of discouraged at the moment, so I didn't bother cleaning anything. I do need to come up with a better system for around the edge. I actually just had a guy here named Matt, and I was selling him something on the buy and sell. Matt made a good point. He suggested that I do a piece of 2-inch carbon and epoxy it down over top. So I think I'm gonna do that because I do have 2-inch carbon tape. How cool is that? And as far as I know, don't quote me on this, it depends on your state, your province, this would be legal where I am because it is a white light facing forward. So I think that's pretty cool. You guys drop me a comment. What do you think? Is that cool? All right, guys, that's it. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. Please subscribe because I want to grow the channel. We can make more carbon fiber stuff, but we need the support there. More importantly, we are going to be selling these hoods in the future. This hood was a prototype. I can definitely do better. I kind of rushed through it, I'm not gonna lie. It needs a cut and polish still, but it's a pretty cool hood. It is going on my Honda Civic that ironically needs an engine as well. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.